pray for export contribution of Northeastern states should increase to 5% by 2030 from 0.13 percentage as of now. This article comes in the Hindu English newspaper Chennai edition on 26/09/2025, written by Sangmugan Han Singh. India export economy is heavily centralized. The four states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka account for more than 70% of all merchandise exports. For Gujarat alone, it is over 33%. This concentration is no accident. There has been an alignment of infrastructure, incentives and political continuity in these zones for decades. Meanwhile, India's most populous states, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, remain on the margin, with barely 5% of the country's outbound trade between them. Then there is the Northeast, whose place in India's export economy is marginal by design. 8 states with over 5,400 kilometers of international borders account for just 0.13% of the national exports. There is no operational trade corridor linking them to foreign markets, and no logistical infrastructure to support volume or role in shaping policy. Instead, what exists is a security apparatus calibrated for counter-insurgency and surveillance. Trade has never been part of mandate. The Northeast remains structurally unrepresented in the institutions that shape India's economic future. Not a single member of the Prime Minister Economic Advisory Council hails from the region. The Board of Trade, tasked with steering India's export strategy, has no substantive voice from Mizoram, Tripura or Arunachal Pradesh. Schemes such as remission of duties and taxes on exported products and the production-linked incentive are rolled out with fanfare in industrial belts stretching from Gujarat to Tamil Nadu. But the hills and valleys of the Northeast are left to navigate global markets without infrastructure, without logistics and without institutional leverage. This is not mere bureaucratic oversight, it is a cold calculation that the region can be symbolically impressed yet economically orphaned. As recently as 2024, the Directorate General of Foreign Trade Strategic Export Plan had 87 pages without a single section of the Northeast corridors. Since the 2021 hope in Naypyidaw trade across the Indian-Myanmar frontier has thinned. Highways, once envisioned as arteries of regional integration, now vanish into checkpoints, choke points and bureaucratic fog. Once porous and alive with exchange, the border now speaks in silence. India's two principal gateways to Myanmar, Jogaudar in Mizoram and Moreh in Manipur, have withered into skeletal outposts. Once central to activist dreams, they now function more as securitized bottlenecks than the trade hubs. Infrastructure remains performative. Road exists on paper, customs officials are understaffed and cold chain facilities are nowhere to be found. The scrapping of the free movement regime in 2024 was the final blow, severing not just trade but also kinship, daily life and the interwoven economics of the kills. Surveillance replaced commerce. These are no longer corridors of trade but containment of grids structured by counter-insurgency logic rather than market demand. And as infrastructure decays, these downs slide from economic relevance into strategic emptiness, mapped not for connectivity but for control. The border is open only to the idea of closure. The Northeast was once mapped as India's strategic region, a bridge to the Association of Southeast Asian Nation. The bridge never left the drawing board. In policy circles, trade resilience now means shifting from one product category to another, electronics to semiconductor, textiles to pharma. Geography is not part of the equation. The assumption is fixed. Trade flows through the same corridors that several colonial ports and post-independence industrial clusters. The Northeast remains outside that frame, not by oversight but by design. As China consolidates its grips over northern Myanmar through infrastructure investment, military alliances, and growing intelligence footprint, India continues to squander its own flanks. The India-Myanmar Thailand trilateral highway, which begins at Moreh, now vanishes into jungle. Surveillance, not commerce, defines India's frontier stance. Where goods do not cross, border forces do. And when movement is reduced to patrols, borderlands do not stay still. They drift toward disorder. What is required is not reinvention but basic state function. Trade runs on roads, not rhetoric. It moves through warehouses, not white papers. In the Northeast, those arteries are missing. Infrastructure is sporadic and policy presence is thinner still. New Delhi may ink a free trade agreement with London and issue joint statement in Washington, but the substance of those agreements rarely crosses the Siliguri corridor. The Northeast remains integrated in both design and delivery. India effectively negotiates global trade while ignoring the geographics that could anchor it. India claims a role in the Indo-Pacific equation, but its export architecture still rests on a few coastal enclaves. Strategic talk rings hollow when the eastern frontier remains disconnected from the commerce map. A state cannot claim regional heft while its eastern flank remains economically brittle. The Northeast has never asked for slogans. It requires the minimum grammar of statecraft, roads that reach markets, policies that recognize geography, and governance that sees beyond electoral math. For decades, the region has been told to wade through insurgencies, ceasefire, and empty policy acronyms. No single tariff will break India, but repeated regional omission erode the idea of a cohesive economy. This is not a call for retaliation, it is a demand to reframe resilience not as a concentration of strength, but as the ability to absorb shock from every part of the map. Bible talks about export increasing in northeastern states of India in Genesis chapter 34 verse 10. And ye shall dwell with us, that the land shall be before you, dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possession therein. Amen.